Okay, in this video, I'm going to tie you my version of the Zug Bug. I call it the improved Zug. It's basically same old Zug, just tied a little bit differently. Just using some different material to make it stronger and make it a little more, give it another fish catching property. Hook I'm using is a Dotch 1160, I think, 1560. I'm sorry, size 16. Size 16 Zugs trailing your bigger lead fly work pretty well. I'm using black uni 8/0. Lay down a layer of thread. If you want to get nice close touching turns, hold your tag end straight out from you, and it'll cause your thread wraps to always touch. Just bring those back to about the barb, a little too far there. Bend, break off your tag. Now the tail's going to be peacock swords. Good stuff. Only want about 3 of them. I like to make so the curvature of them point up. I don't think it really matters too much, but I just like to do that. I measure it about 2/3 of the shank. Change hands. Pinch and loop, tie it in on the top. Check how you're looking. Looks pretty good. Don't worry about with the Zugs if your tails aren't even. That does not make a difference whatsoever. 1 turn to hold, 1 on the shank, then wrap up, tying down your peacock. Try to keep it on the top. Wrap in front, trim your excess. Now we're going to tie in small silver holographic tinsel. There's going to be 2 ribs on the fly. We're also going to tie in a silver wire to protect the tinsel. Make sure that tinsel doesn't slip or want to move from its spot. Wrap that back, bring it up. With nymphs, it doesn't matter how much thread you wrap on there. You don't want the fly to float, obviously. I'm going to use some UTC small silver wire. Catch that in. Tie that back. I'm going to leave our thread there. Our ribs out of the way. Now we're going to tie in our body material, which is going to be peacock herl again, but I like to make them really sparse. So I use this part of the eye, these guys up here. They have really short, fine fibers on them. I'm only going to use 2. Just peel those off. With peacock herl, the tips are always the weakest, so I break what ones want to come off, then I trim the ones that want to stay. And catch these guys on this side of the hook. Tie them in, bring your thread up. Then I like to do a little bit more thread on here to build up a taper. Bring your thread to your eye. Stop about a hook eye's back from the eye. Then we want to wind our peacock herl. Be very gentle with this stuff. Breaks very easily. You want to wind it opposite way of the tying thread. It's a very weak fiber. We need to protect it. Catch it. Tie it down. Trim off your excess. Now bring your holographic silver up through. Nice and tight turns. On a 16, if you're a counter, which I'm not, it takes about 3 to 4 turns. I just go for spaces. Sorry, I bump the camera all the time. Tie that down. Trim your excess. Now bring the silver wire right over the exact positioning of nice and tight, right over top of your silver tinsel. It's going to keep your silver tinsel in place. Fish after fish after fish. I go one over, I pull it nice and tight, bend 90-degree bend in the wire, tie it down towards the eye, bend and break it off. Okay, we got our tail and our body done on our Zug. Bring your thread back up to where you tied everything off. Now we're going to do our hackle. I like to use partridge hackle, dyed brown. Partridge has superior movement in the water over hen. This stuff gives this fly great action. A lot of flies use partridge and they use it for a reason, and that is because it has superior action. Now what I do with the partridge feather, I hold the convex away from me so you can see that side, and I stroke the fibers back, revealing the tip, which I'm going to tie in. Tie it in at the tip. I do 1, 2, fold it back, 1, then pull your feather off to the side out of the way, trim that off. Now these small partridge feathers are fun, but they are possible to do. I don't use hackle pliers, I like to just use my hands. I fold the fibers back, and I take one turn down and around, and just one complete turn. Tie it down. Don't worry, it looks messy at the moment, but it'll get a lot neater. Stroke those back, tie down to the front. Now, I like to take my fingers, force the partridge fibers down that want to go down. Everybody else on the top here, go on, snip them off. Now we're going to put our mallard wing in. Select yourself a mallard feather, flank feather, and simply stroke the fibers back. Make sure they're nice and even. So you're left with a feather like so. You want to take this feather, lay it right on the top. I lay it facing me a little bit. That way when I bring the thread over, puts it right on top. I do 2 turns, 3 turns, lift it up, 3 turns on the shank, bring it back, trim your feather, also snip off any rogue partridge feathers. Tie that down. I'm going to go right into whip finish. I am off. Now, trimming the feather, watch your partridge. Just lift it up about halfway on the shank. Bring your scissors in, straight across. Boom. Got yourself a pretty effective zuggy there. That'll last fish after fish. One more touch that I like to do, if I can get it open, is I like this stuff a lot. Sally Hansen's Extreme Wear. Take a small bit, don't need much. Give your head a shine all the way around. And then I like to take just a teensy tiny bit and run it right down the center stem of that mallard feather. The tight wraps for the head and The Sally Hensons will ensure that that feather goes nowhere. Fish after fish, it'll still be there. That's your improved Zug Bug. I hope you enjoy it. Tie some of these up, fish them. They're killers. They work on browns just as well as the rainbows. Hope you enjoy it. Check me out on my blog, www.utahsflycorner at blogspot.com. Thank you.